And so, the incident is coming to an end. The incident riddled with absurdity, with nonsense, with sheer irrationality, is about to lower its curtain. An incident smaller than Hope Peak Academy's biggest, most tragic event. Smaller than the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. An incident so small it doesn't even have a name. The world will never know what happened here. Not now, not in the distant future. As long as they remain here.
Apparently they've finished the preparations. We can leave any time.
Then, I guess we should get going.
Hey Makoto, is this really okay? You're the one who said, leave the questions to me, so I let you take the lead. Are they really going to be okay? Didn't they just turn back into ultimate despair?
I know we're having a serious conversation, but Makoto is so tiny.
I don't think that's the case. I mean, if they did turn back, they wouldn't have said that they'd stay on this island.
Perhaps they're thinking about helping their sleeping friends?
I can't really say for sure, but that's what I believe.
Whether they know it or not, the fact that they're already clinging to that feeling shows they're no longer who they were in the past.
It seems that there are too many soft-hearted people here.
Shut up, Byakuya.
But in reality, the possibility of those who are asleep waking up is close to zero.
No,
Oh,
the
damn.
possibility isn't a problem.
Look at them. I mean, I know I've already seen Makoto and Byakuya in this getup, but like, whew.
Even if there's the smallest possibility, they're still trying to create that future for themselves.
Man, I can't believe I'm looking at a photo, well, CG, of these three, and Kyoko's the only one not smiling.
In their eyes, that is the future.
The smallest possibility. You might as well call it a miracle.
Strangely enough, I have a feeling that they'll be able to reach it. They've accepted their hopes and their despair, and they're trying to create their own future. Maybe, for people like that, miracles are inevitable. Don't you think?
As cheesy as ever. Seriously, you haven't grown up at all.
Literally.
You haven't grown up?
That's the main reason we decided to come with you.
You're still a kid.
Who cares? I guess I'll respect your decision.
Oh.
This time. However, what comes next is going to be difficult for us.
Leaving them on this island. If the higher-ups at HQ find out about this, it will definitely cause a scene.
We need to work on concealing it.
That's not a problem.
And what do you intend to explain to HQ?
About that. I was gonna think about it while I was on the ship.
Good luck. I'm not going to help you that much.
Huh? Why?
You should at least be glad that we decided to respect your decision.
Fine.
It's a bad decision, but we're gonna agree with you. We're gonna respect it even, not agree.
Then let's go back as well. We're not even close to finished yet. There's still a lot we must do. Besides the Future Foundation, the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history is not finished.
Damn, Makoto, you have some massive earlobes, my guy.
We must end this once and for all, for the sake of the future.
It seems I must fight alongside you all for a little while longer.
You'll always be with us, won't you, you lanky prick? You know you love us.
Plus, there's someone waiting for you to return.
Don't make me remember something so horrifying.
Well, I mean, she's busy in Toa City right now, but I'm sure you'll be reunited one day.
Then let's go.
Much to everyone's chagrin.
We must create our own futures too. And so, the ordeal has ended. And from here, our daily lives have started. Lives that are much more absurd, nonsensical, and irrational than before. Things are probably going to be a lot more difficult now. There's no such thing as an answered mystery. It's doubtful whether or not things will even end well. The future isn't a path. It's like an endless sea. You can try to go anywhere, but it doesn't mean you'll get there. Even so, I will keep on living as Hajime Hinata.
Oh. Oh.
My future lies here.
Epilogue. The day before the future. Oh. Is that it? Is that the game? I don't know if we get a... Yeah, that's the pop song that's about to start, isn't it? Yeah! Oh my god! One, that is really loud. Two, I can't believe we're done. Dude. Oh my god. I can't. Oh. Oh, Nagito. Oh, we've got to get into game discussion now. Look, okay. I am so fucking torn on this game. Like, don't look. I'm probably going to spend at least 20 minutes criticizing this game. I can't lie to you. But this was a good game. This was a really good game. But I personally it's honestly my least favorite of the Danganronpa games so far. Honestly. I mean, honestly, in a way, it's not saying much. Following Ultra Despair Girls, I was like, oh man! Danganronpa 1 and Ultra Despair Girls are really good, and they really fight each other, but for very different reasons for top spot. Like, they've got real good things going for each of them. And, like, see, the problem is here that I think Danganronpa 2 has the highest highs and the lowest lows of the franchise so far. Like, honestly, it is more than Chapter 2's Trial and Chapter 3's Deadly Life that do drag it down. I know those are the two things that I complain about the most, but it is more than those that drag this game down for me. And I think I'll get into this more after, like, the fucking... It's not pop, this sounds more like rock, after the rock song's done. To get talking about Chapter 6, though, I'll be honest, a lot of that wasn't that good. Again, kind of like, I guess it's like a microcosm of this game. It's not bad, like, it's still fine. But compared to the other finales, this one was just so... there. I mean, there were the things that I didn't see coming at all. Those were really good. And you know what? The ending of this, the ending of pretty much from where... Kyoko. Hiyoko. I'll tell you why I said Kyoko. From when Kyoko and... Again, speaking of Byakuya, when Kyoko and Byakuya showed up till the end of this, that was amazing. And like the twist that these guys were all ultimate despair the whole time, that's really good. Like those bits were really good, but the rest of it was either retreading Danganronpa 1, which I know has been a thing that this game has purposely done a lot, but, you know, it's retreading Danganronpa 1. Like, I've come off with Danganronpa 1 and Ultra Despair Girls, right? And those two games were so different from each other. But this game is... It's Danganronpa 1 again, but better in some places and worse in others. You know what I mean? So by proxy, it sort of knocks it down a few pegs. But yeah, I mean, like, all the stuff with Junko... Junko actually wasn't that interesting in this game, I'm gonna be honest. Like, she shows up at the end here, not really foreshadowed beforehand, and that's it. Yeah, not a fan of Junko. Like, I like Junko enough, but not a fan of her in this game. Honestly, she killed the ending a little bit. But, like, you know, it was still a really good... Like, that ending part of Chapter 6 was unbelievably good. So yeah, I think... Oh, hey, Monica.
Thank you very much for all this time.
I know, I put a lot of time into this
I love
game.
you guys.
Shut up, Monokuma, you don't mean that. You dickhead. Get out of here. What is that? Oh, Easter egg. Okay. Sure. We'll do the ending stuff here, I suppose. Yeah, we'll do it all here. We'll do it on this screen. So I got my thoughts on Chapter 6, I suppose, in terms of a chapter ranking. I think my favourite was Chapter 4, then Chapter 5, then Chapter 1, then Chapter 2, then Chapter 6, then Chapter 3. I think that's my overall ranking. Yeah, goddamn though. Oh, like, okay, I guess it's time to elaborate on highest highs and lowest lows. Like, you know, I'd hate to reiterate this again and again and again and again, but Chapters 4 and 5 were so good. So good! Like, I honestly think they might be some of, if not the best things to come out of Danganronpa so far. Like, that I've played. Because, like, the only thing in Danganronpa 1 that I think even compares to those two is that game's Chapter 4. Like, oh, it was so, like, the Chapter 4 and 5 in this game were genuinely that good. And, you know, it's hard to fully judge the characters as of now. It really is, because a lot of the characters, especially in this game, a lot of, like, their depth is in their free time events, and, like, sure, like, you know, as I've said again and again and again and again, a strength of this game is that you can just talk to everyone just around, and you get little inklings of their personalities and whatnot. You could do that in Danganronpa 1 as well, but it just wasn't, like, as good. Like, the optional dialogue, there we go. It just wasn't that as good as this game. This game was stellar. And you combine the little things from there, and you weave it into, like, their characterization in the free time events, and you move that into, like, their presence in the overall story, and it's just, oh... Some of the characters feel so right, you know? I said this a while ago. I don't remember exactly when I said it, but I said this a while ago. I don't think it's a coincidence that my 3 favourite characters are the characters whose free time events I finished. The free time events in this game as well are, from what I've seen so far, really good. Real fucking top quality. As opposed to Danganronpa 1 that had some hits and some misses. It was largely hits, but, you know, there are a couple of misses in there. And, I mean, let's be real, there probably will be a miss or two in this cast as well. And I'm going to be honest, there are a couple that I have in mind that I think already are going to be misses. And I'll tell you why. It's because the thing that I can judge the characters on, like holistically here, is their presence in the main game. Now, you know I hate Akane. If you've, like, done anything, if you've watched any of these videos, you know I hate Akane. She is far and away my least favourite Danganronpa character. I find her boring, obnoxious, highly irritating. She has a good line here and there, and her voice actress, Wendy Lee, is phenomenal, but I just hate Akane. Like, I know what they were trying to do with this character arc of hers across chapters 3 and 4, but it didn't hit for me at all. I don't think it stuck any landing. Yeah, but something that I criticized Akane on is that she didn't do anything. In chapter 1, she smelled some blood. Okay, great. In chapter 2, I don't know, Hajime gave her a piggyback. In chapter 3, she cried. In chapter 4, she couldn't move a pillar. Did I say chapter 5? In chapter 4, she couldn't move a pillar. Chapter 3, she cried. Chapter 5, she did nothing. In chapter 6, she did nothing. Like, great, okay. That perfectly validates my hatred for Akane, right? I mean, no, not really. I don't think you have to do things to necessarily be a good character. I mean, you know, Hina in Danganronpa 1 did nothing until chapter 4, and then after that, she did nothing. But I still like Hina. You know, Hina's fine. Again, she's not one of my favourites, but I like Hina. But I'm thinking about it. I have thought about this. A lot of characters in this game do nothing. I mean, looking at the survivors alone, right? Hajime is, like, the only one who consistently does stuff. And that's obviously because he's the protagonist. Fuyuhiko, chapters 1 to 2, he does nothing. Obviously, though. Like, it's building his, like, animosity and, like, antagonism with the group. Obviously, he does nothing. And in chapter 3, like, he's certainly there. And, like, that's when his character development starts. Or, like, really kicks in. Like, he obviously changes, right? Like, in his behaviour. But he doesn't really do that much. In chapter 4, again, he doesn't really do much. Like, he sure does contribute to the trial. Like, he sees Nekomaru going down the stairs and he stays in the lounge. And, like, in chapter 5... Actually, I think chapter 5 was one of his better chapters. Like, you see him taking charge of the group a little bit. And in chapter 6, just like everyone else, he does nothing. Hajime's the only one who does anything in this chapter. Akane, already been over. Sonya, look, you know I love Sonya. I think, like, as a comic relief character, I think she's real good. But chapter 1, she does nothing. Chapter 2, she does nothing. Chapter 3, she does nothing, except arguably get Hiyoko killed. In chapter 4, she does nothing. In chapter 5, well, actually, I think in chapter 5 she does, again, sort of like Fuyuhiko in chapter 3. She clearly changes a little bit, right? She's a lot more outspoken in the trial, specifically around, like, sacrificing Chiaki. She actually does stuff in terms of, like, trying to blow up the fucking old ruins. Like, she does do stuff there, and I think that you can attribute that to, you know, her little arc with Gundam. And in chapter 6, she does nothing. Kazuichi, he's been there a little more, you know? I sort of criticized the game for this as well. That it seemed like they were trying to make Kazuichi and Hajime good friends. Because, like, Kazuichi spends a lot of time with you in the story, you know? But, like... I never really felt their friendship. Because, specifically from Hajime's end, you know? Because, like, I think like, I love Hajime, he's great, but I think my one problem with him is that he's like too cynical and like, I don't know, standoffish, I guess. Because like there was a long time, I think up until about chapter 4, where he was a dick in his internal monologues to just about everyone. Like even Chiaki, he was a bit of an asshole to. And I think like it made some moments, like when he's remembering Mihiru and, oh, how could this happen to her in chapter 2? It felt so jarring, not only because we didn't really ever have that before in the series for some reason, but also because it felt really out of character for Hajime to care about another person, you know? I mean, on one hand it didn't, obviously, because I did her free time events in that chapter. So, like, for me as a player, right, in that specific circumstance, it felt right for him to, like, care about Mihiru and her dying. But, like, for Hajime's overall characterization up till that point, it didn't really feel entirely natural. But then going forward, you know, like how he's, like, you know, the Chiaki stuff. Chapter 4, I think, was a big one for him, Sonya, and technically Akane. I mean, Akane doesn't do anything after chapter 4. She doesn't do anything anyway, but you know, I do think there was certainly an effect that Gundam and Nekomaru's sacrifice had on Hajime. And then so the Chiaki, and of course this the Izuru plot twist here, like that, you know, from there, like, Hajime feels real, right? Everything he does, and everything he says, and everything he thinks feels right. And in chapter 4, before the trial as well, like when everyone's doubting him, like, you know what, I think I'll pin it in as the you can't have faith without doubt conversation that they have during chapter 3's trial. I think from then on, Hajime feels entirely right, you know? But before then, it's just like, oh yeah, I like Hajime because he's different to Makoto and Komaru. He's a lot less gung-ho and positive. I know Komaru wasn't for a lot of the time, but when we were just running around fucking picking up books with Toko, Komaru was really fucking gung-ho, you know, and in the story she was a lot more, oh, what do I do? But yeah, yeah, no, sorry, I didn't really mean to go on a rant about Hajime, because I fucking love Hajime. He's, like, easily in my top 5 characters in this game. Honestly, I don't know if I like him or Komaru better. I'm kind of leaning towards him right now, but I think that's a bit of a recency bias. Anyway, yeah, no, I mean, I was kind of criticizing the characters, but, like, do you know what I mean? Like, in Danganronpa 1, everyone kind of felt like they had a place. Like, they all contributed. Even the characters, well, I think with maybe the exception of Hiro and Hina, everyone felt, at least to some degree, important. Like, Sayaka, Leon, and Mukuro. Granted, Mukuro didn't feel important until later on, but, like, Sayaka and Leon, well, again, to a lesser extent, Leon, but Sayaka felt important, right? Like, she did things because she spent time with Makoto. Leon, yeah, no, I take it back. Leon didn't really do any. I mean, like, sure, he's part of, like, the, you know, it's the first game. You've got to, like, set the tone, and he is a part of that, and, like, I think Leon's always going to be somewhat iconic for, like, that first execution, that tone setter. But, like, you know, as a what he does, like, Leon's pretty pointless, and I think it reflects in that Leon's probably my least favorite character in Danganronpa 1. But then, you know, we get to chapter 2. Chihiro has influence throughout the rest of the series by the seams of it. Mondo treads the line, right? Because Mondo himself isn't super important, but his relationship with Taka is. Sort of how Mihiru and Hyoko, they should be a thing. But, you know, this game does Hyoko dirty and completely fucks her character over. Yeah, and not in the same way they do Taka. I think Taka And his turn is actually I've been over this before, so I won't go over it too deeply again. But I think that Taka's turn and then his death is fine. Like, it works. And, you know, like, Taka, his presence in Chapter 3 really solidifies him as important. Because, like, up until that point, he's, you know, he's big leader man who actually isn't that good of a leader because no one listens to him. And then, like, he basically goes mad, and then he has the conflict with Hifumi over Alter Ego. Hifumi cements himself as fairly important because of his part in Celeste's scheme. Celeste is sort of like the boundary between everyone else and Byakuya in terms of, like, ideology, which makes her somewhat important. Other than that, no, she doesn't actually do all that much. Sakura, I'm up until Chapter 4 she does nothing, but, like, her relevance there and, like, all that stuff, it's a bit, like, beyond that. Obviously she has influence beyond her death. Her free time events are also quite nice, like, which, you know, obviously it's a benefit she has that a lot of the characters here don't, because I haven't done all their free time events yet. So, like, you know, whatever. It's whatever. Because, you know, then, like, what I said with Hina, Hero, I mean, he's part of a lot of murder cases by accident. He's part of 1, he's part of 3, he's part of 4. But, like, he himself doesn't really do too much. Toko feels important because of the whole, like, Genocide Jack thing in Chapter 2. But then after that, she does sort of, like, fade out, admittedly. I think Toko just feels important because she's, like, a character who sides with, you know, Byakuya, who's, like, clearly supposed to be an antagonist within the group. I mean, like, he's obviously not anywhere close to Junko or Monokuma, but, you know. And then Byakuya has, like, the thematic relevance, right, as your antagonist up until Chapter 4, and then he takes relevance in the same way that Fuyuhiko does, actually, where he starts becoming more like a leader of the group in Chapter 5 onwards. And then Kyoko, obviously, she spends time with Makoto a lot. We get to see her a lot. It makes her feel like she's important. So, like, yeah, as opposed to almost everyone in Danganronpa 1. Like, Danganronpa 1, in Danganronpa 2, because honestly, a lot of the time it felt that Nagito, Chiaki, and Hajime were the only ones who got things done. Or, like, did things. You know? You know, I don't want to criticize my favorite characters, but let's look at my 3 favorite characters. Mihiru is probably the one of the 3 that does the most. Like, she is clearly a group leader. She stands up to Fuyuhiko. She's responsible for just one of the bonus events where she gets all the girls together. She tries to take initiative with the Twilight Syndrome murder case motive. But, I mean, the actual relevance of a lot of that is, like, dubious. Like, it's nice for her character, like, her characterization, but a lot of that stuff isn't, like, super important, you know? Because she takes a back seat in the leadership role in Chapter 1 to Byakuya, and in Chapter 2 to no one, but she's just not that much of a leader at that point for some reason. I don't know. Hiyoko, I mean, she does nothing. She's just an asshole, realistically. Until Chapter 3, where it looks like she's going to turn around, because her relationship with Mihiru is going to propel her in the same way Fuyuhiko's relationship with Peko is going to propel him to absolute god-tier character status, but then, no, they fucking unceremoniously kill her, and undoubtedly the weakest kill in the series so far. And one of the most pointless, too. Like, I mean, there's certainly some tragedy to it, because it's so pointless, but fucking hell. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And yeah, it does hurt more because I really like Hiyoko. And then Gundam, yeah, Gundam literally does nothing until Chapter 4. Again, I love him. He's best boy, but he does nothing. Chapter 1, he loses his earring. I mean, he finds the secret passage. I mean, that's something, at least, right? In Chapter 2, he does nothing. In Chapter 3, he does nothing. In Chapter 4, he doesn't do anything. And then you figure out he's the killer, and it's like, well, like, what? You know? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too critical here. Like, I'm being unfair. I might be. I think I just need time to simmer a little. But yeah, no, I mean, like, I know I've been sitting here criticizing this game, but it is good in like, so many ways. Like, this game has made me a lot more emotional, shall we say, than the other two. Because, like, yeah, I had my moments. It was like, oh, touched my heart. But, well, actually, this game didn't really touch my heart, more like it stabbed it. But, you know, Chapter 4 of Danganronpa 1, that really got me, but nothing else really did. And then, the end, well, not the ending, but towards the end of Ultra Despair Girls, you know, that final scene with Toko and Komaru on the balcony just before the giant Monokuma fight, that scene really got me. That was really sweet. And in this game, yeah, like, it really got me a lot more. Chapter 2 got me. Nearly twice. Chapter 4 got me. Chapter 5 got me. And Chapter 6 got me. You know? Like, there is a lot of value to that. Like, a bad game would not be able to elicit the emotional responses in me that this game has. Like, this is a good game. Like, criticizing things, it does make it seem like you don't like it, and I don't want that to, like, I don't want to come across that way, because I do like this game. I really do. But I just feel it could be better, considering that this is, you know what, I think there are two other things as well, I think, that might have damaged my perception of this game. One is that I had quite a few spoilers. It was nothing major, like who dies or whatever, or who the mastermind was going to be. But I had a lot of, like, small spoilers. I mean, go on, I say that. In Danganronpa 1, I was pretty much spoiled on all the survivors, but, you know, it wasn't things I knew for certain. In this game, there were things that I knew for certain were coming. And that might have... I don't know. I don't think it really damaged my opinions on the game that much, but... I don't know, maybe Chapter 1 would have been even better if I didn't already know that Nagito was fucking insane, but yeah, I've known that since, like, before I played Ultra Despair Girls. And the other one is that now, okay, again, I'm saying this when V3 has, like, recently come out, so I don't know if this is a comment that's gonna age well, but Danganronpa 2 is the fan-favorite game. And I think that might have raised my expectations a lot higher than I realized. Because I try not to have expectations going into these. Like, usually I'm like, ugh, critics, get your heads out of your own asses. I don't care about your opinion. I will form my own opinion on this thing. Like, you know, but... yeah, I don't know. I think there might be a small thing in me that's like, I could totally see this game being the game in the series that, like, has this small, dedicated following that's like, yeah, this is the best one! You see all this stuff that it does really well, don't mind the stuff it doesn't do as well, and, like, does worse than the rest of the series. I don't think I touched on worst of the worst, did I? Well, whatever, like, use of the characters was pretty bad. Akane is awful. Sorry, I just hate her. And, yeah, this game also had the worst chapters. Chapter 3, Chapter 2's trial was awfully boring. Like, Chapter 2 is really good. Well, not really good, but Chapter 2's pretty good. But the trial itself is shit. And Chapter 3, Deadly Life to the End is awful. I love the setup, but it just doesn't pay off, like, at all. Yeah, fuck, what was I saying? Oh, right, yeah. Like, yeah, I could imagine this game being the one with the cult following and people saying, yeah, this is the best one, even if it's not the most popular opinion. I just don't see this being the fan favorite. Yeah, I don't know. And I think that's the comment I'm going to leave this game on. Well, for now. Plans going forward, of course, we're going to do the post-game stuff. I'm going to do well, you know, I say the post-game stuff. I'm going to do the school mode for this game. You know, we're going to do all the free time events. Yeah, we will. I don't know when I'll start uploading those, though. That'll either be... Because... I think at this point, I don't think this series in particular, Danganronpa 2, can be a weekend series. I think this has to be a weekday series. So I think that's sort of decided here, because I think it's just too long. Yeah, well, so, yeah. Because I don't think that... I actually don't know. I can't make a call. But how I usually run these is that after I finish the main series, I'll wait till the start of the new week to do, like, extra stuff. But depending... Because, like, it sort of depends on how long this is going to take me to film the school mode. It's really going to depend on how long it takes me to film that. Because, like, if it's... I think of it, because, you know, if I'm doing it weekdays, then it'll be 5 episodes a week. If it's longer than 10 episodes, and this isn't a Friday episode, then I think I will carry on uploading for the rest of the week, and there won't be a gap. But if the free time stuff is less than 10 episodes, I think I will just wait until next Monday. I don't know, that plan might change, but I think that's how that's gonna go. So, I mean, you guys won't know how many episodes there are until I upload on whatever day. But, yeah. Yeah! That's cool. I'll see you guys then. And soon enough, I'll, see you for Danganronpa V3, which I'm excited for. But, until then, goodbye.